Transmissions channel, and today we're going to be doing a little bit more work on the Camaro project. Originally I was going to do the torque arm and transmission crossmember install, but really there's no sense in installing the transmission crossmember yet because I'm installing that separately from the engine. So if I install it, then I'm just going to have to uninstall it to put the transmission in. So I'm going to leave that part out, wait until I get my transmission. But today it's going to be a quick video. It's literally just pulling the old torque arm out and putting the new one in. It's only a couple of bolts since the old transmission crossmember and transmission are already out. So the front of the torque arm isn't connected to anything, which if you have a third gen Camaro, you know that if you have the stock crossmember and trans, the torque arm actually attaches to the tail of the transmission, where if you have an aftermarket one, a majority of the time it's going to be mounted to the actual transmission crossmember. So since neither of those items are in my car, the front of the torque arm is not connected to anything. So the only thing we have left is to pull, I think it's just the 2 bolts in the back that connects the torque arm to the rear axle. And basically what the torque arm does is it runs up to the transmission crossmember or transmission, and it keeps the axle from twisting forward and back. So we're going to get the old one out and get the new one in. I have the UMI adjustable torque arm and the transmission crossmember for either a T5 or a 700R4. So today we're going to be focusing on the torque arm, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But before I get started in this video, I need to get under there and pull out the old fart cannon exhaust that is on there, because I'm definitely not going to be using that on mine. So real quickly I'm going to pull that out, and then we'll start recording actually uninstalling the torque arm and installing the new one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thank you. Alright, so sorry about the lighting, guys. I have to have the garage open to do this job because it's at the back of my garage. But there's the old fart cannon that was on it. I don't know what made the previous owner want to put this exhaust on there, but that's it. I still haven't removed the actual piping for it yet because I can't get it over the hump of the axle and everything. So I got to bring home my saw tomorrow and cut it in half in order to get this out of here. But in order to do this job, if you have a cordless impact or air, you can use your impact. And if you don't, then 2 ratchets will work fine. I don't know, you might be able to get a wrench on top, might not. But you're only going to need a 21 millimeter. It's the same on both sides, the nut and the bolt head. So that's all you'll need, and it's just simply those 2 bolts right here. And that's the only thing holding it in on the rear. The bolt runs through the entire housing right here on the front of the axle. And so we're just going to simply remove those, and we're going to take this torque arm out, and we're going to install our new one. Okay guys, so first off, starting out, I'm going to try it with the impact. If it's not strong enough, then I'll go ahead and use my other ratchet, but we're going to try and break them loose. So it's loose, but I think I'm going to have to use my other ratchet in order to actually get these off. Go ahead and try and break this front one loose as well. Alright, so go ahead and just use this socket as well, because they're a little snug. I did spray them down with WD-40 a while back. Yeah, they're a little snug. So I'm not going to record all of this. I'll skip through it. You guys get the point. It's literally just removing these 2 bolts right here. Okay guys, so I got the nuts removed from the bottom of the bolt. You might need a hammer for this if they don't come out easily. But this isn't too bad. You can tell they're really rusty. So if you are reusing these, which you can, and I am, you definitely want to clean them up and get all the rust and stuff out of the threads and everything. Now that we have those removed, we can simply just either pull the torque arm off, or you might have to hit it, but you guys are kind of in my way, so I'm gonna have to move you guys, and I'm just gonna pull this out and we'll prep the other torque arm for installation. Alrighty guys, so that is the old torque arm compared to the new tubular UMI performance torque arm. As you can tell, this is where it bolts up in the rear, and this goes up to either the transmission or the cross member. The old one uses a clamshell around the front of it to hold it in place, where this one has an actual bushing installed in the torque arm that bolts up to the transmission cross member. It does indeed come with installation instructions in case you need them, as well as notes that you need to keep in mind. Like if you're using the original bolts from the rear end, you cannot use these washers. It doesn't allow the nut to get on enough of the threads in order to hold it securely. So you will need to remove the washers or install or order and install the bolt kit from UMI Performance. So keep that in mind. I just cleaned these up so they're ready to go in. Now we can get the UMI torque arm underneath the car, and I'm going to try and slide it in place, and then I'll just show you guys the installation. So I got the torque arm under here, but before you go ahead and install it, if you do have a powder coated rear end or anything like that, it might be a little bit tighter fit, but you do want to go ahead and apply some grease and just work it in to make installation a little bit easier. It is recommended. So I just have a couple dabs of grease up here right where the torque arm slides over. Then I'll just come back with a rag and wipe up all the excess on here, and we'll be ready to install the torque arm now. Another thing to keep in mind is you want to get your torque arm set up to where it's going to be easy to get up in there, but it is a little bit on the heavier side. So if you're having troubles, go ahead and ask a friend or anybody to help you kind of hold it in place as you try and line it up. Also, it has multiple holes drilled in the back end for different rear ends and stuff like that, so you do have to figure out which holes need to be lined up so the torque arm sits flush with the transmission cross member. But as you can tell, with the rear end sitting with nothing holding it up, it will be angled up like this. So you may have to put a jack under the pumpkin and jack it up just a little bit just to angle the rear end down in the front so you can actually get the torque arm installed. So I'm going to go ahead and get that up there now, and then we'll get the bolts installed. We have it installed, not bolted down, but in place. Basically, you're just going to slide it on from the front and push it this direction with an up and down movement. You just shake the torque arm up and down while wiggling it back, and you get the holes lined up. And then always remember, your bolts have to go in from the top, because it's very dangerous if you put them in from the bottom, because you do take the chance of the nut coming loose and then the bolt can fall straight out the bottom. Whereas if the nut comes off here, then at least the bolt doesn't fall out. So now that we got that on, we get these bolts started, or these nuts started on the bolts. Kind of clean up some of that powder coating off of there. So it's not a real tough job, and keep in mind the pinion angle is set at 0 degrees from UMI. It is always good to double check it, but it is set at 0. I'm not going to be tightening down any of these bolts or adjusting anything as of yet. I have to wait until I get my transmission and cross member in, and then I can start messing with the angles that I need. So as of right now, I'm just going to tighten these bolts down and we're good to go. So there's a quick installation of the UMI torque arm, and yeah, pretty simple job. Hey YouTubers, so that was the install of the UMI Performance Torque Arm. It's a great product. A lot of people have them on their cars and they are absolutely fantastic. Not only are they way stronger than the old torque arm, they're also adjustable. So if you change your ride height or your rear end or anything like that, they are pretty universal. But keep in mind, you have to know the rear end that you're going to be going with and the transmission you're going to be going with. And they have multiple different torque arms and cross members for those. You can also get drive shaft loops on both the cross member and the torque arm, or just the cross member like I have. And it just secures the torque arm just in case the U-joint breaks or anything like that. I will be doing that install once I get my transmission, but that is the torque arm install. Not too difficult. It probably took me maybe 30 minutes, and that's with recording, so it will probably take you less time as long as those bolts don't give you any hassle. But if you're doing this job, go ahead and grab yourself a beer and enjoy it. It's really not that bad, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and as always, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thank you guys.